Are you really trying your hardest? Or are you dressing it up as working really hard, all while avoiding doing the work that would actually progress you forward? Here's a simpler way of putting it. Are you avoiding the work and calling it excellence because the other things are just not possible or not for you? I had this one in a conversation the other day about it of, well, you're not actually trying your hardest. Hell, I think you're procrastinating at potentially the highest level. But it feels like you're trying your hardest. It feels like you're doing the work. It feels like you're giving it absolutely everything you have. Because you are in the areas that you feel comfortable in the areas you feel confident in, and the areas that you've been doing the work for a long period of time. But you're avoiding actually doing the work that matters, actually doing the work that is going to progress you forward. The work that actually makes a difference on this. And this is where people fall into this trap, and they're like, no, I'm killing it, I'm working so hard, I'm doing so much, I'm giving absolutely everything I have. Well, the results would suggest otherwise. What you're getting out of it would suggest otherwise. Like, I had a conversation with a prospect, and I was like, well, we're going to have to talk about nutrition. Oh no, nutrition's fine, I've nailed that. It's the exercise part. And I'm like, well, it's the exercise part as well, but you're at least 30 kilos overweight, so it's not just the exercise. That's 100% nutrition as well. But in their mind, they're nailing it. In their mind, they're giving the effort. In their mind, they're doing the work. But if you were doing the work, if you were where you needed to be, this would be a different conversation. We would be talking in toning up. We'd be talking in getting specifics better. We would be finalizing things like that. No, it's all of it. You're just dressing it up as excellence. But I find that all the time. Nutrition specifically seems to be one of those topics that everybody, from Joe Blow to the hairdresser to doctors and lawyers and everyone in between, thinks that they know all about, thinks they know really, really well, thinks they know that they've got that shit covered. Well, then we wouldn't be having a conversation about being overweight. We'd be talking about specifics and getting dialed in on the details of how to get the fitter side, how to push that further, how to get more out of that. We wouldn't be having a discussion on you being 30 kilos overweight. Because exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. They absolutely do. You need both. You need both to be on point, but anyone who's chronically overweight needs to look at their nutrition side first. They need to look at that factor first. The exercise just is that cherry on top. It just finalizes, it sculpts, it adds that. And it's bigger than that as well. Exercise is for as much the mindset, the mental capacity as it is the physical component. But people have this delusional level of skill and accomplishment in these areas that always baffles me. This dressed up idea of excellence or hard work, but avoiding the things that need to be done, or admitting that what you believe doesn't actually work. I remember years and years ago, I ended up telling the client to, jump in a lake on this one, because I wasn't going to deal with this. They were adamant. We were talking about nutrition, and they weren't even a client. They were about to become a client. And I was like, oh, well, we're going to tackle nutrition. We're going to get into this and all this kind of stuff. And And they were like, no, I'm good on nutrition. And I was like, what do you mean you're good on nutrition? Oh, well, paleo is the only way to do. And they'd come from CrossFit. And I was like, is it? And they're like, yep, paleo, best thing ever, fixes absolutely everything. It's the only nutritional program that works. And I was like, then why are you here? Oh, because I'm not getting the results that I want. Cool, got it, understand. So I'm going to push you in a different direction. And they're like, no, I do paleo and it works and it's fantastic. Okay, and here we go again. Hard work, dressed up, dressing up your hard work and your excellence and pretending that you know. No, you're avoiding the work that you know you need to do. So they kept coming back at me. No, paleo's the way. And at the end, I just went and turned to them and I was like, if it works so well, go back to CrossFit and doing what you were doing. Oh no, but I need help. Yeah. And every time I try and give it to you, you argue with me about why I'm wrong. So clearly you know more, so go do what you're gonna do. I've told this story to a few different people and people are like, oh, that's very arrogant of you. And I was like, no. If you pay an expert for their expertise advice, fucking listen. Don't argue with them about how they're wrong. Don't argue with them. You can disagree with them. Absolutely. You can challenge me on it and question how I believe that is the right answer. But at the end of the day, if you're going to tell me that I'm wrong and you're not getting spectacular results and you're wanting me to give you the results that you want, well, your so-called excellent program, your so-called hard work is you avoiding doing the work that you know needs to be done. You're not doing what is required, as evident by you're not getting the results that you want, the results you have come to me to acquire. But people don't want to look at that way. We talked about it the other day. Too many people don't want a solution. They want to be told what they're doing is the correct option. But if you don't have the results to back it up, if you don't have the results to confirm what you're doing is the correct solution, and I will put this heavy caveat on it because, as we've discussed many times before, it also applies that you are giving effort, intensity, and consistency, then maybe your solution is wrong and you need to find a better one. But people don't want to admit that what they have done, what they have invested time, what they have invested money, effort, all of that into is wrong. But part of evolving, part of evolution, part of becoming the greatest version of yourself is admitting sometimes that you, A, don't know, or B, have backed the wrong horse. But you know what's even worse than backing the wrong horse? Doubling down when you know. Putting more money down when you know that you're not getting the outcome, the results that you were looking for. So stop trying to dress up a pig and tell me that it's beautiful. Make a change. Make a different choice. Do something different. And for God's sake, if you decide that someone has the answers that you're looking for and you've invested in them, take their advice. There's no point holding on to your convictions on you know best if you know that you aren't getting the results that you want. It's at these moments that you need to make a different choice. And as I said, that also comes with the caveat of assuming that you've given effort, intensity, and consistency. Because if you're program hopping and saying that you know that this doesn't work, well, you haven't actually given it a red hot go. You haven't actually invested in it, so that's a different story altogether. But these are the things that we need to look at. These are the things that we need to decide on. That you can't be dressing up these ideas, these notions, these concepts as being excellent, that you are doing it all, that you are working your ass off, that you aren't procrastinating on this when you're just staying within your comfort zone. The purpose of life is to get uncomfortable. It's the oxymoron of you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. that you need to put aside this notion of comfort and ease, and that you have to push yourself, and you have to challenge yourself, and you have to continually see what you are capable of. Not just in fitness, but in all areas. But as we discussed, fitness is the gateway drug. Fitness is the easiest step towards everything that you want. It teaches you those muscles. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you hard work. It teaches you mental toughness and fortitude and grit and determination, and that results take time, effort, intensity, consistency. That you have to keep showing up for a lot longer than you think you should, over and over and over again. And eventually it'll start happening. But you have to let go of this quick fix. You have to also let go of this idea that you can do something different for 30, 60, 90 days and then return to the man you were. No, you're just going to end up back where you were at the beginning. This needs to be a fundamental shift of how you identify, how you talk about yourself, the thoughts, habits, and actions that you take, so that you can actually change your life. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. We must realize that we need to do better, that we need to be better, that what we have been doing within our comfort zone and declaring to the world that we're working so hard and we're killing it is not the answer. Because, well, as evident by you don't have the results that you were looking for. You must tweak, you must grow, you must adapt, you must get uncomfortable. You must face head on the things that you are doing and truly have a conversation with yourself of, are they delivering what you want? Because you need to ask that question about your life. Is this everything you want out of life? My gut feeling is that the answer is no. But say if you convince yourself that the answer is yes, fantastic. Then continue on as you are. But if you want more, if you want something different, if you want to change, well, you can't continue down the path that you are on. You can't continue doing the things that you are doing. You need to make a different choice. You need to make different decisions. You need to change your thoughts, your habits, your actions. You need to take control of your reality and stop living in your delusion that, well, it's working, but I'm working so hard. Don't have more time. I don't have more money. I don't have the capacity to do more. Well, you do. You just don't want to look at those things. You do. You just don't want to recognize that it requires change. You do. You just don't want to pay the price of what that might cost. Then you might give up your sedation methods. Then you might have to give up wasting time. You might have to give up things that are comfortable and nice. You might have to give up good for great. But that's what we're here for. That's what we are meant for. To push forward, to leave behind good, to pursue great. In all areas. As I said, it's always in all areas. I'm always talking about all of it, not just health and fitness, but that's just the beginning point. That's the point that teaches you the rest. So start there. Start with pushing yourself. You know, even down to things where I'm like, people have perceptions of how hard they're working. I was like, do you write down what you do? Do you record the process and ensure that you do better next time, and do better next time, and do better next time, and that you're progressing forward at all times? If not, what the fuck are you doing? You set the standard for yourself every single day. And at absolute bare minimum, you must match the standard every day. If not, surpass it. If not, progress it further. So if you're not writing it down, if you're not tracking it, if you're not recording where you are, well, how the fuck do you expect to continue progressing forward? How the fuck do you expect to reach a new level? You don't even know what level you did yesterday, or last week, or last month, or last year. It's all a guess. But it's much easier to dress up your comfortability and your quote-unquote hard work as excellence if you have no idea what you've done. If you have no idea where you were yesterday or last week or last month. Because then you can create a narrative every time about how hard you're working. And this is where it starts. I take a daily photo every day, and I post it to social media every day. 3 angles, front, side, back, every single day. And people are like, well, you can't see changes across that. And I was like, no, but I can look back at the collage of that and see when I start slipping. I can see if things are not working my way. I can see if I have not kept the intensity up high enough, if I have not been taking the steps to continue pushing forward. I have a very clear visual track record that I put out into the world to hold myself accountable to that standard, so that all can see, and then I can know if I'm doing enough or if I've taken my foot off the gas. Because most people don't notice on a day-to-day basis, myself included. That's why we track it. That's why we record it. That's why there's a process. It's not ad hoc. There's a plan, there's a system, there's a method to the madness, so that you continue to progress forward, so that you continue to see the results, so that you keep reaching for the greatest version of yourself. That's what this is about. So that we don't dress up our hard work and getting comfortable as being acceptable. Because it's very easy to tell yourself that you're working hard. It's very easy to compare yourself to others. I've fallen into that trap myself. I'm doing fine because I'm better than, the average Joe. Cool. That's not really something to be proud of. That's, working out 3 times a week puts you in the top 5% of the population. Let's set the bar a little bit higher. Let's start expecting more of ourselves. Let's start pushing to greater heights and stop accepting this pathetic level of it. It's time to step forward. It's time to step up, and it's time to stop dressing up your hard work and claiming that it's excellence when it's in your comfortable range. It's time to become the man that you were destined to be. So if you're ready for that, click the link in my bio, enter Demanding Greatness, put your money where your mouth is, invest into you, give it time, money, effort, intensity, and consistency. And you will be a different man very shortly. And I cannot wait to see you there.